Welcome, awards watchers and SAG Awards fans. We are here to discuss the SAG Award nominations, which were announced on Wednesday morning, January 11th. I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery, here with my fellow editors Ray Richmond, Marcus Dixon, and Denton Davidson. We're going to talk about both film and TV in this slugfest. So let's start with film. In the nominees for best ensemble cast for a motion picture are Babylon, The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, and Women Talking. Thank goodness, Women Talking. I was worried there for a minute. But what did you guys think of these nominees and what stood out? What surprised you? Let's start with Marcus.
Well, the surprise was Babylon. I didn't have that getting in, and it looks like I'm going to consult the official Gold Derby odds. We had Babylon down in 9th place overall. That's when you combine the experts, editors, top 24 users, and all of that. So that was quite shocking. Collectively, we all thought Glass Onion could get in. We actually had that in 3rd place, but otherwise, the other four, we saw those coming. Very, very deserving nominees, and I don't know what is going to win at this point. You could make a case for all 5 of these, really, but I may just stick it out with Everything Everywhere All at Once. I've had that the whole season, so we'll see what happens.
What do you think, Dan?
Yeah, I would say Everything Everywhere is probably the front runner at this point, just because they got the individual acting nods that they needed. I mean, we'll talk about Snubs later, but Fabelmans missed out, Women Talking, and Glass Onion was completely snubbed across the board. So SAG voters not into Glass Onion. So that'll be an interesting category, and a lot of times that can be a big tea leaf in what ends up being Best Picture. So I think it will come down probably. Well, I don't know. It's a tight race. We'll see.
Yeah. What do you think, Ray?
I don't see the Fabelmans being a real contender in this category because they snubbed Michelle Williams, and it seems like they kind of added it on just because they sort of had to. Same with Women Talking, even though these are both fine films and have great ensembles. I think it's between Everything Everywhere, Banshees, and Babylon. And Babylon, as you just mentioned, was a surprise. I think Everything Everywhere All at Once has probably got to be the favorite, with Banshees maybe a semi-close second. We also predicted Everything Everywhere would mop up everyone at the Golden Globes, and that didn't happen. So who knows?
Yeah, Everything Everywhere All at Once lost Best Picture, Musical, or Comedy at the Globes to Banshees of Inisherin, and here they're both tied. They both have 5 nominations. Both are up for Ensemble. Both have 1 lead acting nomination, and both have 3 supporting nominations. So they're basically tied in that sense. But I'm wary of Banshees of Inisherin just because of 3 Billboards. McDonough's last film won this at the SAG Awards, so and it didn't even have as many individual acting nominations as Banshees had. So I think that's something definitely to watch out for.
I was going to ask, what would happen in your guys' opinions if Banshees wins this? How would that affect your thoughts going into the Oscars? It won the Globe over Everything Everywhere, so if it has the Globe and the SAG Ensemble,
it's going to have everything it needs. It's going to have nominations at the Oscars for acting, directing, screenplay, editing, picture, all of the main ones. So, I mean, it should be in everyone's top 2 or 3 if it wins SAG Ensemble. And I also wanted to bring up the numbers of the casts for these ensembles. Babylon has the most at 13. Sometimes we notice the biggest ensembles win, and Banshees has 4. Everything Everywhere and The Fabelmans both have 7. Women Talking has 11.
Interesting.
Babylon has 13. Oh my God.
13.
Babylon has star power too, and they have Brad Pitt. I mean, what if Babylon wins? I mean, that would that could happen.
It's interesting that the two biggest casts in that category are the two casts that got no individual acting nominations. And the smallest cast got every single ensemble member an individual nomination. So that's kind of an odd situation there. Let's talk about the lead acting categories. Let's start with Best Actor. I feel like 4 of these were kind of givens. You have Austin Butler for Elvis, Colin Farrell, Banshees of Inisherin, Brendan Fraser in The Whale, and Bill Nighy for Living. The one that really stood out was Adam Sandler for Hustle. I feel like that 5th slot, those top 4, I feel like have been pretty locked for a while. And then you've got that 5th slot, like who's going to get it? And we've seen different opinions at different award shows. Jeremy Pope, The Inspection, got in at the Golden Globes. Paul Mescal got in at Critics' Choice, and now we have Adam Sandler getting in at the SAG Awards. What do you guys think about that one, Ray?
I was surprised to see Adam Sandler get in, although he's gaining respect across the board the last 4 or 5 years for various roles. I think I expect, well, even though there wasn't a chance that Brendan was going to win at the Golden Globes, I thought there could, that sometimes the Globe voters like to give a big shock. That would have been the biggest shock of all. Wouldn't be as big a shock if Brendan were to win for the SAG Awards, and I still think he's got a good shot. The only thing holding him back being a little bit of a backlash, over purported fat shaming in that film. But I think this category, I don't think Austin is a likely front runner here in this category. I think it's really Colin and Brendan if I had to put money down.
What about you, Denton?
Yeah, I think it's a tough race. I think Brendan needs this now. And he's been quiet since getting that initial praise when the film came out. There hasn't been a ton of buzz around him, and Austin Butler is everywhere. I mean, even though he's sort of the young newcomer, I mean, he is the star of the moment. So I don't know that he's out of this. I think he has a chance here. But Colin Farrell also, I mean, how many people has he worked with? Brendan, you have to think about, his filmography. He's been absent for so long, while Colin Farrell's been consistently working, and a lot of these peers of his have worked with him, and he's a real threat to take this.
Yeah, and he actually technically has 2 films in the SAG Awards because he's in The Batman, which is up for Stunt Ensemble. What did you think, Marcus?
I kept scrolling through Twitter last night. I couldn't sleep, and there are passionate Austin Butler fans, there are passionate Colin Farrell fans, and very passionate Brendan Fraser fans. So no matter who wins, there are going to be 2 groups of people that are very, very upset on SAG night and on Oscar night. I think I'm just going to go with Austin Butler right now, not just because he just won the Globe, but because Elvis is such a phenomenon. We know everyone has seen that movie. Some people still haven't seen The Whale. I imagine Banshees is pretty widely seen, especially amongst SAG voters. But yeah, I'm going to go with Elvis. And, looking at our odds again, Adam Sandler was down in 10th place. Some other people we haven't mentioned: Tom Cruise, Hugh Jackman, Daniel Craig, Jeremy Pope, Paul Mescal. All of those were above Adam Sandler in our odds.
I'm just not surprised by the Tom Cruise snub. I just don't think Top Gun Maverick I don't think he's going to get in at the Oscars. I didn't expect him to get in here. And Adam Sandler, I don't find him to be a threat to get in at the Oscars either. I think Uncut Gems was a bigger player than Hustle is, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think this is a wide open lineup, though. I currently have Paul Mescal getting that 5th Oscar slot. I agree that Tom Cruise seems like it's not really an awardsy kind of performance, so it really would be unusual to see him in there. let's talk about Best Actress, where we've got Cate Blanchett for Tar, Golden Globe winner. Golden Globe winner Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then you've got Viola Davis, The Woman King, Ana de Armas, Blonde, Danielle Deadwyler, Till. From looking at our odds, it was Ana de Armas who took that Michelle Williams slot. We were expecting the other four. What did you think about that lineup, and who's going to win it, Denton?
Well, it was shocking to see Michelle Williams not among those five. I would say Danielle Deadwyler needed this more than anyone to get in at the Oscars, because she did miss at the Globes. And Ana de Armas is a shock, but now she's got the Globe nomination and the SAG nomination. So, I mean, this is interesting. In my personal Oscar predictions, I would still swap Anna for Michelle and then keep that five. But this is going to be a tough race, and we're all waiting for Michelle and Cate to finally go head to head. They both did what they needed to do at the Globes, and I think the winner will win the Oscar. That's my prediction.
Ray?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with Denton. Obviously, the surprise was no Michelle Williams, who for a long time I had being the favorite for the Oscar race, until Cate really asserted herself. But I feel like Cate Blanchett still probably has the advantage here. I think she's the only real likely winner going forward for the Oscars for Tar. I don't think Tar is necessarily looking like any kind of favorite for script or for picture, no matter what the New York and LA critics say. But I think she's still probably the favorite for actress, although Michelle Yeoh, there's a lot of love for her now. We saw that in the room at the Globes Tuesday night too. So I think there's a lot of power in this category, but I think it's still a two-woman race.
Yeah, Michelle Yeoh, I mean, she threatened to beat up the playoff person at the Globes, and she got a rousing standing ovation, didn't she, when she won? She is my pick to win the SAG Award. I think, it would be a moment. It would be something people remembered. And I mean, Cate Blanchett, we've seen her give all kinds of speeches, and we still haven't seen Michelle Yeoh give a ton of award speeches, even though she's been working for decades and decades. As far as the snubs, I mean, you all mentioned Michelle Williams. That was shocking to me. And I do wonder, is she having second thoughts about going lead? I wonder if she would have had a better chance in supporting. And we all play these prediction games and doing these awards events, and I always wonder, did you have a better chance going the other way? Well, I guess we'll never know.
Let's talk about the supporting races together, so we can get to the TV races, where there was a lot of surprises and interesting developments. For supporting actor, you had Paul Dano for The Fabelmans, Brendan Gleeson, Banshees of Inisherin, Barry Cogan for Banshees of Inisherin, Ki Huy Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Eddie Redmayne for The Good Nurse. Our odds actually predicted 5 for 5 in that category. I think it was the only category where our odds went 5 for 5. Mm-hmm. Supporting actress, Angela Bassett, Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, recently Golden Globe winner, Hong Chow, The Whale, Carrie Condon, Banshees of Inisherin, Jamie Lee Curtis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I was very excited to see Stephanie Hsu for Everything Everywhere All at Once also get in after missing at the Globes. What do you think about those races? Who got in that you're surprised by, or snub that you're surprised by, Marcus?
Gold Derby, we missed Hong Chow. We thought Janelle Monáe might get in for Glass Onion, and this Hong Chow thing, that makes me wonder about the Brendan Fraser potential win. I mean, she was not guaranteed to get a nomination here, and so the fact that she did get in tells you they watched that movie and they liked that movie and they liked the acting in that movie. So maybe that will convince me to move Brendan up. But to win supporting actress, I've had Angela Bassett forever. I didn't think she could pull off the Globe win. I thought she would have had a much harder chance there, but she pulled that off. I mean, this one is a cakewalk. She's got SAG locked up. She's so beloved in the industry. And then for supporting actor, yeah, Ke-Huy Quan for Everything Everywhere. He gave one of the best speeches on Golden Globe night. And if there was any doubt of whether he could win, I think that was dissuaded at the Globes. I think he's got the SAG.
Right?
Yeah, I'm. I would concur with this. I think Marcus has been on the Angela Bassett train all along, very impressively, and he's got me convinced now. I think she's going to be sweeping through award season now, um, uh, for um, uh, for that role, and I think Ke-Huy Quan too. I don't see either of them, either of the Globe winners, Ke-Huy or Angela, losing here. I think this is a almost a gimme. Both of these are, the there's plenty of power in the other nominees. I would have thought Jamie Lee Curtis for a long time, but it seems like that one's starting to lose steam. And Brendan Gleeson, I would have thought had a real shot before, but I think I think the SAGs are going to go the same way as the Globes.
Denton?
Yeah, I agree. And first of all, Marcus, I don't think you acted like you didn't know that Angela Bassett was going to win the Golden Globe. I think you were telling us over and over that she was going to win the Golden Globe.
I switched. Chris Beecham convinced me Jamie Lee Curtis is winning. She's got the child thing going on. So he convinced me to switch.
But I do, looking at Hung Chow, that does speak well for Brendan Fraser. That is a big thing. It's interesting to watch this women talking thing transpire because for so long we had two of them in our top five for the Oscars, and now it looks like there will be none. So that's been interesting. I'm on the Angela Bassett train as well. I had Jamie Lee Curtis at the top of my SAG predictions, but yeah, this does seem like a slam dunk now for Angela. I never really thought Carrie Kundun was gonna go all the way through the Oscars, just because she isn't really the focus of Banshees at all. So I think this one was up for grabs, and Angela emerged as a front runner. And Kwan's Golden Globe speech was enough for him to go to sweep the awards for the rest of the season for Everything Everywhere. So he's winning the Oscar. There's no way I'm changing that at this point.
And there are going to be people, Angela doubters in the comment section who are going to say, Marvel people don't win Oscars. One day a Marvel person is going to win an Oscar, whether it's Angela Bassett this year or in the future. So why not Angela this year? It's going to happen someday. We all know that. I mean, 2 Jokers have won. So why not a Marvel?
And with all due respect to other Marvel people, they are not Angela Bassett's. I mean, she has a respect in the industry that very few Marvel actors have, as do others in the Black Panther film, which is why that film in particular has been more successful at the Oscars than some of the others.
It's interesting to see that supporting actress race with Angela Bassett, how Black Panther, the original, the first film, got a bunch of Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, the first Marvel film to get a Best Picture nomination, and so far the only one. But it couldn't get any actors in, and now it looks like the reverse will happen because I don't think Wakanda Forever is going to get a Best Picture nomination, but Angela Bassett's looking pretty safe for a supporting actress nomination at this point, at the very least. I'm still a little skeptical. I think the door is slightly open because of not being in a Marvel sequel. It would be such an unusual kind of profile for an Oscar winner. But Angela Bassett does have a strong narrative. She's long overdue. She's a veteran. She hasn't been nominated for an Oscar since What's Love Got to Do with It in the 90s. So she has the strongest narrative in this category.
It's almost like a career achievement for her, and I'm sure the Oscars are going to look at it that way too.
If she already had 3 Oscars, then we wouldn't even be discussing her. But it's all of what you guys just said.
Yeah,
I think
if anyone has that comeback narrative too, so I think he's got a good one there.
And I'm still at the Oscars. If someone can slip in and steal that spot from Hung Chow, for me, more than the women talking cast, I'm starting to think that would maybe be Carey Mulligan instead.
So let's we can talk about the stunt ensemble ones together after. I want to get to the TV first.
Okay.
Let's talk about drama series, drama ensemble. We've got Better Call Saul, The Crown, Ozark, Severance, and The White Lotus Sicily. Thoughts about this race and what stood out to you, Marcus?
This is such a good lineup. The Gold Derby odds thought House of the Dragon could get in, but it was Ozark that surprised. And Ozark actually got more nominations than any other TV show this year. It got 4. And I'm pulling up the numbers of the casts. I should have had that ready to go. If you want to go to someone else, I could.
And we shouldn't have been surprised by Ozark. I mean, they love Ozark. Jason Bateman just got in at DGA again. I mean, the industry has a love affair with Ozark, so it wasn't surprising. And they were in 6th. They were right outside our nominations. It wasn't like it was a huge shocker. And House of the Dragon is a new show, and that's a Severance, but SAG Awards voters can sometimes be a little bit behind. They usually only see maybe one new show a year.
I would expect House of the Dragon to get in for season 2. So here are the cast totals for drama. White Lotus Sicily by far out front with 21 people. And then second place, Ozark, 16 people nominated in the ensemble. The Crown, 13. Severance, 11. Better Call Saul, 7. So 7 compared to 21 for White Lotus.
Literally 1/3.
Mm-hmm.
And your theory is it's almost always the biggest cast that gets the nod.
That happens a lot. It's a lot of the times it's the biggest or the most diverse or the most female friendly. Remember how many times Orange is the New Black won or Downton Abbey won?
I would love to see Better Call Saul get something. I mean, it's the ultimate bridesmaid at this point. And, but I fear it's probably not going to happen. If anything, I think the White Lotus could slip in and get this. I know it's in different categories in the other awards, rather than, lumped with other drama series. But I feel like it's got a lot of momentum behind it. And a lot of that is probably, the crazy rambling speeches of Jennifer Coolidge. I think it's actually helped the show's chances in a crazy way. Especially her second rambling speech at the Globes, where she had actually, instead of just going off into oblivion, she got personal and got moving and got Mike White crying. I think he's still crying and still drunk, even at this moment. But anyway, I feel like Ozark could also, slipping in with that nomination as sort of a farewell swan song could end up getting a lot of support here.
Yeah,
I feel like White Lotus is such a slam dunk. I don't think it's close. I think they're gonna just destroy the competition with that huge cast. There's no hotter show on television. I would be shocked if anything could beat the White Lotus.
Yeah, and it's the epitome of like an ensemble show.
Oh yeah.
Compared to these others. It is interesting about Ozark though, like the Golden Globes, gave it surprising amount of love, and Julia Garner won. Now it did so well at the SAG Awards, but at the Emmys, like it would always get a lot of nominations and then not win anything but Julia Garner. So it's interesting how much industry support we're seeing everywhere but the Emmys. I think this is a strong case for Jason Bateman in the acting category. Let's talk about those. We've got for male actor in a drama series, Jonathan Banks, Better Call Saul, which was kind of a surprise. Jason Bateman in Ozark, Jeff Bridges, The Old Man, Bob Odenkirk, Better Call Saul, Adam Scott in Severance. In the actress category, you've got Jennifer Coolidge for The White Lotus, Elizabeth Debicki for The Crown, but no Imelda Staunton. Julia Garner and Laura Linney for Ozark, and Zendaya, Euphoria. What do you think about these, Denton?
Well, first of all, Jonathan Banks. I think that was the biggest shock. Was that he was 28th. He might have been the biggest shock of all SAG nominees this year. Was there anyone lower than him? I'm not sure.
Where was Anthony Kerrigan? He was pretty
he might have been lower too. Both of them were the shocks of the day. But I'm wondering now, Jonathan Banks, he's not helping Bob Odenkirk here by being in this race. I'm sure there's going to be a quite a significant divide in votes between them that Odenkirk will
Yeah.
have significantly more, but there might just be enough to pull away. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Again, I think Jennifer Coolidge is on such a tear, and people just like watching her so much. I don't think she stands a chance of losing this.
Mhm.
Marcus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jennifer Coolidge has got major momentum. I agree. And Jonathan Banks, I was thrilled to see that this morning. I mean, he's been so great for so long. First time Breaking Bad, and then Better Call Saul as Mike. And I think there's a lot of love and support for him out there too. So I would not be surprised if he slipped in and grabbed this. Although you're right, Denton, that there's going to be a lot of division in the category between the two actors on the same show. I This is the kind of category that where you could have an upset from a superstar like Jeff Bridges. I feel like this is or Jason Bateman, as a farewell to a great character on a great show. This is sort of looks like actor looks like a wide open category, and actress probably not, because you're right, Jennifer Coolidge. I feel like the Earth would have to start spinning on its axis in the other direction for her to lose.
The best news for Coolidge is that Aubrey Plaza did not get in, because that would have been a vote split for the winner vote, because Aubrey did such a good job this season. But since Jennifer is here alone, representing her show alone, I think you're right that this is a strong chance for her to win. Zendaya, though, and she's never been nominated at SAG, so we don't know how much they like her. She got snubbed for season 1. This is for season 2. It's possible Zendaya can pull this off. The two Ozark ladies, this is a classic vote split. Laura Linney is going to get a ton of votes. Julia Garner just won the Golden Globe. She won 3 Emmys. She's going to get a ton of votes as well. I expect them to vote split here, and neither of them will win because of that, unfortunately. SEGs really need supporting categories for TV, so this wouldn't happen.
They do.
And then over on drama actor, Jason Bateman has won this twice when Ozark was not ending, but now that Ozark is ending, I would be crazy not to predict him, so I'm going to do that. I think I got both of the times he won wrong, so I owe it to Jason to predict him.
And then you'll get it wrong.
Yeah, that has happened to me, where someone will win like 3 times and I'll have predicted none of them. So I'm a little wary too. I think they're both two-way races. I think Bateman and versus Odenkirk for actor. I think Banks being a supporting actor, I feel like most of the Better Call Saul support would go to Odenkirk. So I think he still has a strong shot at winning, but yeah, Bateman has won twice, so it's hard to bet against him. And drama supporting actors, Coolidge or Zendaya. But I agree with that. Coolidge is pretty strongly out front with Zendaya. They had this is the first time nominating her. It's not up for Ensemble, so how much do they really love the show? But she's won 2 Emmys. She just won the Golden Globe, even though her show wasn't nominated. So I wouldn't count her out here, but I think it's down to those two as well. So moving on to comedy, let's start with the ensemble race. We've got Abbott Elementary, which just won the Golden Globe. Barry, The Bear, Hacks, and Only Murders in the Building. What did you think about this race, Ray?
There's a lot. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of support for, as there had been for The Bear. And it is a great ensemble, and it is the shiny new object. But I think this is Abbott Elementary's year. I don't feel like, and it has so much strength in the ensemble. We got a surprise winner from the ensemble at the Golden Globes, and I feel like it's going to be an interesting race. I don't think Hacks and Barry and Only Murders in the Building feel like they've uh, they're sort of to some degree filling out the category. I feel like the two real juggernauts here have got to be Abbott and the Bear.
How about you, Marcus?
I'll paraphrase what Denton said in our Golden Globes slugfest we did a week ago, where he's like, if they don't vote for it, they're gonna look stupid. Like this Abbott Elementary is the show of the moment. It is one of the lockiest locks of the night, even though Cheryl Lee Ralph didn't get in, or Janelle James, or Tyler James Williams. I don't even think that matters because they're supporting in these categories, combined leads and supporting. So it's not really fair to call those snubs even. I think the show has it on lock.
And no supporting comedy actors got in, correct? I know
Kerrigan.
None of the women did. No male supporting comedy actors either, correct?
Kerrigan.
Oh, Kerrigan. Yep. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I agree. Those Abbott Elementaries are, that and The White Lotus are the most talked about shows. If I talk to anyone that's not like looking at these awards all the time, just amongst people and talking to friends, no one talks. There's no show like Abbott Elementary that gets more of a reaction from people. I mean, everyone loves and watches this show. And even though it's one of the newer shows, everyone has seen it. So something like The Bear, I think that's going to struggle with SAG voters who tends to be a little bit more traditional, and then Hacks, Barry, Only Murders in the Building. I'm sure they'll have their supporters, but yeah, I don't see how this one's going to be close at all.
And when you think of The Bear, you think of Jeremy Allen White. You don't think of the ensemble. As great as it is, it's not the first thing that comes to your mind.
Yeah, and Abbott is pure ensemble. I think, the fact that it got its lead in, all those supporting contenders. I agree. That probably won't hurt it. I think Abbott Elementary has this one pretty safely. Let's talk about the acting races for comedy. For actor, there's Anthony Kerrigan, Barry, the big surprise there. Bill Hader for Barry. Steve Martin and Martin Short for Only Murders in the Building, and Jeremy Allen White in The Bear. So two potential vote splits that could help Jeremy Allen White. Actress, you've got Christina Applegate, Dead to Me, Rachel Brosnahan, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Quinta Brunson, Abbott Elementary, Jenna Ortega, Wednesday, and Dean Smart, Hacks. These are both interesting races. I'm not 100% sure who wins either of them, but I think I might have an idea who might be slightly out front in both races. What do you think, Marcus?
I think comedy actor is not a question mark to me. I mean, Jeremy Allen White just won the Globe. He is one of the most talked about actors of the year. And the fact that what you said about the two vote splits, Only Murders has a vote split and Barry has a vote split, a very surprising vote split, because you would think that it would be Bill Hader and Henry Winkler, but it was Bill Hader and Anthony Kerrigan. So I think all of that combined really helps Jeremy Allen White. Plus his show got in for Ensemble. Comedy actress, I mean, I'm gonna predict Quinta Brunson just because it seems safe, but then again, Jean Smart seems smart. I didn't even mean to do that. Jenna Ortega is the actress of the moment. I can't believe she lost that Globe. That was tailor-made for her. Rachel Brosnahan, good for her to get in. I think I'm going to go with Quinta Brunson right now, but I could be swayed.
Denton?
Yeah, that for me, I'm torn on that actress one. Quinta is not a lock like Abbott Elementary is. With Jean Smart in there, she's just a force of nature. And those SAG voters do love industry powerhouses like her. So I'm going to have to think about that one. I don't think Quinta's out of the woods there at all. I was surprised to see Jenna Ortega get in with SAG voters for Wednesday. So I'm happy about that. So good for her. TV comedy actor, that's another tough one, because you have all of these sort of veterans and then Jeremy Allen White, who seems like the front runner, but he's also the least known, and that can be hard when you're trying to win over SAG voters. So it depends on how many people are watching The Bear, but it did get that Ensemble nomination, and that's huge for him. If that hadn't happened, I would be a little more worried. But with those other vote splits, I probably will go with Jeremy Allen White there as well.
Okay.
Well, Daniel, I'm a lone voice in the wilderness about this, as the Golden Globe results underscored yet again. We call it comedy, but what Jeremy Allen White is doing in that show is not comedy. I understand that these are just labels and nobody takes them literally, but he is not a comedy actor. He won for comedy for the Golden Globe. So here we have comedy again. I feel like he's probably the favorite in the category. I thought Steve Martin might knock him off at the Globes and could well do it again at the SAG Awards because there's so much love for him. But this is literally it looks like a tailor-made race for Jeremy Allen White with two different vote splitting situations for two different shows. So by the process of elimination, it's the guy who doesn't do comedy who will win for comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I also think I agree with I think with Denton that Gene Smart is an industry powerhouse who you can't ignore or give short shrift here. I feel like the thing with Quinta Brunson is she's a genius. She created that show, but she's really not the strongest performer in that cast. Arguably Janelle James or Cheryl Lee Ralph. And Cheryl Lee Ralph, of course, already won the Emmy. So it was. I was a little surprised to see her winning last night. Whenever we're putting this on Tuesday night at the Globes, I feel like she's probably a slight favorite, Quinta, but I would not be at all surprised to see Gene Smart win, and I would be surprised to see any of the other three, Christina Rachel or Jenna Ortega, who was probably a year away from really taking a SAG award.
Before we move on, I just want to say, there is a lot of sentiment for Christina Applegate right now, though. I mean, it's the show's final season. She's diagnosed with MS. There's been a lot of publicity around that. So there is a lot of love for her circulating around Hollywood, and that could come into play in this as well, because she's not sure what her acting future looks like right now, and there's a lot up in the air for her. And this
good point.
This might be a way for them to celebrate her.
And Dead to Me is on Netflix. We know the voters love Netflix. That could help. I also wanted to bring up about Jeremy Allen White. He comes from the show Shameless. And what awards group loved Shameless more than any other awards group? It was the SAG Awards. They gave William H. Macy, who played Jeremy's father, 3 trophies. So I may have to write an article, like Father, Like Son. Is he going to win the same category that his TV dad did?
Yeah, I think I think they're both pretty close, these races. I actually think Steve Martin has a really strong chance against Jeremy Allen White, even though he has that vote split.
I hope so. Because he deserves it for this show. I think the show's a little too precious itself, but sometimes, but Martin is, and I think there's a lot of love for him in the industry.
Yeah, and they love veteran stars at the SAG Awards, so I think that could potentially give him a leg up, even though obviously Martin Short is also a veteran, a beloved star. So that's a really just your just stereotypical vote split. That's exactly what we talk about when we talk about vote splits. But I do think Steve Martin would probably get a little bit more support, and I think actress, probably between Smart, Brunson, and Applegate. I would give Gene Smart the slight edge there personally. The veterans do well at the SAG Awards. She's acting royalty. So that would be my bet there. Although Quinta Brunson could always pull a Tina Fey. Tina Fey won this, I believe, at least a couple times. So for 30 Rock. So that could happen there. Now we've got 2 more categories for TV acting, at least on-screen acting. Then we'll talk about the stunt awards. We've got for actor in a movie limited series, Steve Carell in The Patient, which I was very excited to see. Taron Egerton for Blackbird, Paul Walter Hauser for Blackbird, just won the Golden Globe, Sam Elliott for 1883, and Evan Peters for Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, which is the most awkward title of the year. For actress, Emily Blunt in The English, Jessica Chastain in George and Tammy, Julia Garner Inventing Anna, Niecy Nash Betts for Dahmer Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, and Amanda Seyfried for The Dropout. Actor is a tough one for me. Looking at that lineup, it might be Evan Peters by default. Actress, I think, is easier for me. I think Seyfried, things lined up well for her there. I think she takes that. I fell on my face predicting these categories, the nominations, so don't listen to me predicting the winners. With that said, listen to these three. What did you think about them, Denton?
I don't have questions about either of these. I think it's Amanda Seyfried and Evan Peters all the way. First of all, we were wildly wrong in our predictions for Best Actor. We got 2 of the 5. We only had Evan Peters and Taron Egerton, and Taron was in 5th. So, I mean, we had Andrew Garfield, Sebastian Stan, Colin Firth. SAG had no love for Pam and Tommy, so maybe they have some sympathy for Pamela Anderson. She was not a fan of the show, so maybe that had something to do with it. We're not sure, but they missed that with SAG voters. But yeah, for me, this isn't going to be close. I think Evan Peters, I think the actor, any blowback that the series has had, I feel like it's not something that the actors themselves are going to have any issues with. And I think most of them would have taken the role if they had the opportunity. And he delivers an incredible performance. And Amanda Seyfried is just sweeping through all the awards this year. So I think it's those 2.
Marcus?
Evan Peters, he's my pick. He's the one I want to win and the one I think will win. They kind of owe him one for Mayor of Easttown. He won the Emmy for that, but didn't win this because he was up against Michael Keaton for Dope Sick. So I think this is their way of making that up to him. And the 2 Blackbird guys are both fantastic, but who do you vote for? If you're a voter and you really love Blackbird, do you vote for Paul or do you vote for Taron? I don't know. I think that's a vote split situation. Steve Carell, I love that he got in. He got in for the morning show too, didn't he? And kind of a shocking nomination. Sam Elliott was not on my radar, not on the Gold Derby's radar. He was in 20th place. And then for actress, Amanda Seyfried, I think she's got this. One of our freelancers, Matthew Stewart, wrote an item on how she's just going to win everything throughout the rest of the year, which I guess would be SAG and Critics' Choice. Niecy, if I was a voter, though, I would be voting for Niecy. I really would.
Right.
I pretty much echo what's been said. Evan Peters, it has to be a great performance if he's overcome the revulsion that is out there for Jeffrey Dahmer. And, so many people were turned off just to the very idea, as well as the awkward title of this show. And, he overcame all that. He won a Golden Globe. I feel like he's got to be the strong favorite here, even though there is a lot surprising, maybe not surprising, a huge amount of love for Steve Carell in SAG. Having interviewed him before, he literally is very embodiment of a mensch. He's just an incredibly nice guy and very talented, and able to really transform himself into wildly different characters. But that said, this is Evan Peters' category to lose, and Amanda Seyfried. I think it's a slam dunk for her. I don't see her losing, and it's a strong category, but that just shows you how good Amanda is.
Can I just also say, to beware in the future, always watch out for Emily Blunt and Steve Carell. I mean, they seem to be really loved within the industry and SAG Awards, because time and time again, they've been nominated, or in Emily Blunt's case, won awards that nobody saw coming.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the stunt categories. Since we're already in TV, let's talk about stunt TV, stunt ensemble, and/or The Boys, House of the Dragon, Lord of the Rings of Power, and Stranger Things. What did you think about this lineup, Denton?
I have no idea. I mean, these are all strong contenders. I have no idea what to do in this race. I feel like I need to take advice from other people because these are stunt heavy casts. So when I think about it and sit down with it, I'll probably just end up going with, whatever I feel is the most popular show. But I would love to hear everyone else's opinion on this.
Ray, how about you?
Yeah, I'd like to, I want to reserve the right to be able to call a stunt man and ask, what they think. Just having watched the shows, I would probably go for House of the Dragon just based on the the athletics of the that were required in the dramatization, but it's hard to it's interesting that this is even a category at the SAG Awards. I applaud them for that, and clearly these people deserve the recognition. So, but yeah, it's hard to gauge this.
I think this is an easy category. Besides the fact that House of the Dragon was my favorite TV show of 2022, the parent series Game of Thrones won this exact category 8 times. It was only on the air for 8 seasons. It won 100% of the time. So I think that there has to be some of the same stunt people that went from that show to this show. So lock it in, House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I think I'd go with that too, just on the basis of the track record of Game of Thrones. It always used to be Game of Thrones and then everybody else in this category. So I'd say that might translate to House of the Dragon too. And the film stunt ensembles, we've got Avatar: The Way of Water. We've got 2 superhero films, The Batman and Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, Top Gun: Maverick, and The Woman King. This is a toughie. I'm not sure which way to go here. What do you think about it, Marcus?
I'm looking back at recent winners. There doesn't really seem to be a pattern. I mean, last year it was No Time to Die. The year before that, Wonder Woman. The year before that, Avengers, and then Black Panther, and then another Wonder Woman. So, I mean, maybe I would go with Black Panther here. They did have the bad guys from the water. But again, Avatar also had water bad guys as well. I think it's going to be one of those two, Avatar or Black Panther. So I'm going to have to flip a coin. I may go with Black Panther.
Right?
I actually would go for Top Gun: Maverick here. I feel like the one thing that scares me more than trying to do stunts in the water would be doing them in the air, and I feel like that's there was some incredible camera work and photography among these people, and anything that Cruise is in, he's going to be helping participate in a lot of that stunts, either doing his own or helping plan them. I feel like I was just blown away by that, and I feel like that was a big part of why this film did so well. Was just the acrobatics and the visuals that people took in the theater. So yeah, I'm going to go for Top Gun.
Denton?
I could see Top Gun winning. I would love to see The Woman King win this. I mean, I don't think there's any film that personifies stunts more than this. I mean, this is a tribe of fierce female warriors. It's about their training. I mean, the whole film is stunts from beginning to end almost. So I think just it's the cast that's involved.
And Wonder Woman won twice, now that you say it.
So, I mean, I just feel like that's where I'm leaning right now, just based on the fact that, it's the story of the film. and it's a strong female cast, and I think there will be an appreciation for that at the SAG Awards.
I think I'm going to copy you, and I think the fact that Avatar and Black Panther are similar with the water storylines, I think you're right. And I mean, Wonder Woman won this twice, so I'm going to copy you 100%.
And Avatar is incredible, but there's when you're watching Avatar, it's a complete visual spectacle, but you're never really sure what's real and what's a visual effect. And it's a credit to them because they so brilliantly weave it all together. But it's hard to delineate, where I think the Woman King is so clearly, they're doing those stunts, they're performing what they're performing.
Yeah, I'm torn three ways in this category. A lot of times I look at this category and I try to think which is the most Oscar-y of these. And you've got three candidates for that. Top Gun: Maverick is probably the strongest Best Picture Oscar contender. Black Panther and The Woman King both have strong acting contenders, as we talked about earlier. The Woman King has the purest stunts. It's not as visual effects driven as these other films, so I think that might help it. Top Gun again has the aerial stunts, which is impressive, and it stands out in this category. So it's really tough to say. I'm gonna waffle between these for a while. For now, I'd probably go Top Gun, but I might change that any number of times before the SAG Awards in February.
And by the way, we have just talked about the stunts more than the SAG Awards talk about the stunts. They treat these categories like they're rubbish. They announce the nominations separately. They announce the winners on the red carpet. What gives? Hopefully when Netflix takes over, they will, treat these categories as equals.
And it's not like it's that time consuming. They didn't, for the nominations, they just posted a picture on their Instagram. They didn't even run through it. It's just two more call outs.
Right. It's like less than 2 minutes. They could honor them the right way.
The other thing about it is that it's a rare category where most of them are in widely watched films because most films with a lot of stunts do better at the box office. So if they're worried about getting people to watch and having films that people go to see in the movie theater win awards, it would be wise to have those stunt ensembles celebrated. And I wish the Oscars would add stunts.
Yeah, me too. The Emmys have
it
it.
is kind of it is kind of remarkable that the lowest grossing film in stunt ensemble is The Woman King, which was a hit. Like it was a significant hit, and these other four are just downright blockbusters.
Same with TV shows. I mean, House of the Dragon, Stranger Things. These are the most watched shows on television.
So with that, we will have many more thoughts on these races as we come closer to the SAG Awards on February 26th. Is that correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. No, yep, it is February 26th. Okay, so I now know that. We're all frazzled here trying to absorb these nominations and consider these winners. And you can go make your predictions at Gold Derby and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing all of everyone's thoughts and seeing everyone's predictions. And you can see ours. Thank you very much for joining us, and we will see you later.